Zeke Elliott signing with the New England Patriots. What's it mean to Rhamondre Stevenson? What's it mean for Zeke Elliott? What's it mean for the New England Patriots? And does this guy have legs left? Does he have any gas left in the tank? We hit 20K. We hit 20K on the channel. Congratulations to all of you because you helped build this thing. You guys, I work for you. We got J.K. Dobbins news. We got JT news. Running back news today. The Fantasy Football Show Breaking News Edition, Emergency Live Stream Edition begins right now.
Live from the FantasyFootballShow.com studios. It's the Fantasy Football Show. Live! Monday through Friday, 8 p.m. Eastern. Smitty is also live whenever news breaks.
From the FantasyFootballShow.com news desk, here is your breaking news.
Zeke Elliott signing with the New England Patriots has a lot of impact across a lot of different pieces of the fantasy football landscape. Number one is this man right here, Rhamondre Stevenson. And I guess to answer this question, we've got to go back and talk about whether this guy's got any gas left in the tank. And I'd say this. I'd say the problem with this situation is that Bill Belichick has been seeking out another big-name running back all offseason long, whether it's been Leonard Fournette, Dalvin Cook, Zeke Elliott. They have been substantial big-name players that he wants to bring in, and you got to ask the question, why? I don't believe they want to replace Rhamondre Stevenson, but I don't know what is going on in the mind of Bill Belichick, who doesn't sign DeAndre Hopkins, who gives a whole bunch of money to a Devontae Parker, who I think is, I forgot he was in the league, to be honest with you. I do this for a living. I've done this for 20 years. And when Parker signed, I said, oh yeah, I forgot. Parker's in the league. This is a man that's been building two tight end sets since Gronk and Hernandez, and he hasn't been doing it with the right players. I don't know what's going on in the mind of Bill Belichick. And so I can't, with a straight face, say, oh, I know Rhamondre's going to be okay, because I'm worried about what Bill's doing. I'm worried about it enough to say, I don't know. I don't think he's taking his job by any means. Let me just put that out there. This guy's an absolute monster. PPR machine. This guy is a guy that can score 12, 14 touchdowns. This is a guy that can pull in 60, 70 receptions as a receiving back in the National Football League. Probably one of the best receiving backs, probably top 5 or 6 in the National Football League. So I'm not extremely concerned, but you got to ask yourself, how many touchdowns is he going to take away? This is a guy that I believe Bill likes a lot, and this is a guy in Zeke that said he signed there because he wanted to play with Bill Belichick. So something's going on between these two, a little bromance. And so you just have to be a little concerned about like touchdown volume. Not necessarily total yard volume, I don't think, but it's concerning enough that Bill's going and getting an RB and trying to test the RB market so much and try and bring in a big name. And the other thing that's kind of a little bit concerning is it's not the biggest amount of money in the world, but it certainly feels a little bit more than backup money. Okay, $6 million on a one-year deal to me screams a little bit of like, okay, this is a thorn in the side of Rhamondre. And I know a lot of Rhamondre owners are going to say, yeah, you'll be fine. And to be honest with you, I can understand that. And if Zeke signed in let's say New York, or if Dalvin Cook signs in New York, I'm going to feel differently about that than this. And it's fair to say that sounds biased, Smitty. And maybe there's some bias involved, but I believe I am very, very capable of separating the bias from the situation. I feel like I do a very, very good job of doing that because I've had 20 plus years of practice doing it professionally. So I try not to tie myself to any one thing. I try not to say, oh, I dug my heels in. This is going to go badly. As an example of not digging my heels in, there's hope in Las Vegas. There's hope in Las Vegas by O'Connell going out and showing he has what we talked about briefly. Whenever we talk about Jimmy G tearing this whole team apart, which I still believe he will do until he's out of the lineup. If he gets raptured by aliens, let's not even call it injury, because we don't want any injury to hit anybody. We don't wish injury upon anybody. But if Jimmy Garoppolo gets abducted by aliens in week 4 and he's out of the picture, and the one thing I've said is, unless they bring in Wentz, who can sling it, even though he's a bad quarterback, understand what I'm saying. Wentz can sling it. That's better for Adams than Jimmy is for Adams. Or, and I've said this several times, or if O'Connell's the real deal, the rookie comes in and like is a gem or something, and he's got potential, is what I thought. And now I'm looking at him, and he looks to be the real deal. Now, the Raiders aren't going to give him a shot right away. They're going to run Jimmy out there. They're paying Jimmy a lot of money, so there's a lot of room for unraveling on the offensive side of the football. Defense looks like it's going to play well, but this is a preseason game. It's backups. Everybody needs to calm down a little bit. But it's one of those situations where I'm trying to prove to you that there's always an open door for looking at something and adjusting and reassessing the situation. And I'm telling you right now, if Zeke Elliott landed in a New York Jet uniform, it would be an annoyance, and I'd feel like it was a thorn in the side. The thing is, it would knock Breece Hall's value down, not accordingly. It would be an overreaction and a total like misappropriation of ADP value. You'd see Breece Hall drop into the 4th round cemented, and that would be worth the risk of Zeke Elliott being on roster. Now, I don't know that Zeke Elliott's going to move Stevenson all that much. If he fell into the 4th round, it would be a steal. I would take Stevenson in round 4 with a Zeke Elliott thorn in the side all day long. I just don't know that he's going to have the impact on his ADP as Breece Hall, because Breece Hall's also coming off the ACL. The PUP active list really rubbed people the wrong way. I just don't know how it's going to affect it. But here, NFL Network, Ian Rappaport reports that the Patriots are expected to sign Zeke Elliott to a 1-year deal worth $6 million. That's kind of a lot of money for a backup at his level, at his stage in the game. This is somebody that's going to take some touches, okay? It's just a matter of how effective is he going to be. And Zeke visited with the Patriots in late July and is now set to join the team. The former Cowboy rushed for 876 yards and 12 touchdowns last season while averaging career worst 3.8 yards per carry. The former All-Pro has steadily declined over the last few years and averaged an underwhelming 2.0 yards per after contact in his final 4 games 2022. Zeke signing could prove annoying for Rhamondre Stevenson drafters, and he'll challenge Stevenson for touches and goal line work in short yardage situations. Elliott's best days are behind him. This is from NBC Sports. Best days are behind him, but he's a touchdown vulture who could provide an occasional top 24 fantasy week. Potentially light workload could make him difficult to trust on a week-to-week basis. This is all very, very true. I agree for the most part with the analysis that's going along with this news report. I will just say this makes me feel like Bill doesn't fully trust Rhamondre, and that's a problem. And so I am ultimately worried about Rhamondre. I am ultimately going to tell you that push comes to shove, I'm taking Gibbs over Rhamondre. Oh, Smitty, where's my megaphone when I need it? Goodness gracious, Smitty. Did you just say you take Jahmyr Gibbs over Rhamondre? Yes, I would. And if you got a problem with that, I don't know what to tell you. But that's just the way I feel. My show, my rules, Rhamondre Stevenson, I like him. I'm not avoiding him. And I'm not running from him. I'm not calling him a bust. But I would rather have Jahmyr Gibbs. At this point, it feels a little bit concerning. A little bit concerning. Does he drop into the 4th round for me? No. And if he does, I'll probably buy him. Understand what I'm trying to tell you. The temperature of this thing is delicate, okay? You take the temperature from one angle in the 3rd round, I'm feeling like there's a little bit of a fever going on. You take the temperature in the 4th round, feels like good to go. Good to go. Totally different angles and lenses to come at this from. We have to monitor the ADP. The ADP will certainly dictate whether we like Rhamondre in 2023 or whether this guy Elliott's going to change the value of Rhamondre in 2023 to the point that we don't like it, to the point we don't trust it, to the point that it makes it a problem and a bigger risk than we're willing to take on at 3.4 overall. Now, anybody comes in here and says Stevenson's fine, he's absolutely fine. you are looking from a biased lens, which is understandable. You own him already. I get it. You love him. You want to draft him. You're a prospective owner, and you're going to draft him. I get it. I get it. And I don't think this man's taking his job. But will this guy have 8 touchdowns instead of 12 or 13? Maybe. Will this guy have maybe 1,200 yards instead of 1,300 on the ground, or some ratio of like 100 to 200 yards that he could be lacking? So that's a lot of points when you really think about it. I mean, that could be, it could essentially be 50 to 80 points he loses, fantasy points on the year, from this situation right here. And that's a significant amount of points. Now, there is a silver lining here. If you already own Rhamondre, he's probably pretty easy to grab off of waivers right now, and you could cuff the two and feel pretty comfortable. He's probably pretty easy to trade for, I would imagine, unless somebody's going to go, I'm going to hold him over your head now, bro, and you can't get him. I don't know. I mean, Zeke's probably pretty easy to draft in Underdog. I don't think Zeke's ADP is going to go through the roof on Underdog, and I think he probably will fall to like 4.1 or 3.12 or whatever it is. If he falls to the 4th round, again, we like him in 4 if he's cuffed. I just don't know if I run into a situation where Jahmyr Gibbs is still there at 4.1. I'm taking Jahmyr Gibbs every time. And I don't care what anybody thinks. I really don't, because Jahmyr Gibbs, we've got science behind it. The science is backing us up. Let me show you said science if you haven't seen the Jahmyr Gibbs science and why I would draft Jahmyr Gibbs over Stevenson. Here it is. Watch for yourself. Study up. Here is the science and architecture and the digital footprint that goes into the process of evaluating Jahmyr Gibbs. But the continuum of the gigawatt component structure of Jahmyr Gibbs' workload divide has a megawatt offload that if you compartmentalize the component conjunction timekeeper and you flux capacitor out the continuum component megabolt, things just end up happening. And that's why Jahmyr Gibbs is a top 5 to 10 running back instead of top 6 to 10. This man, Jahmyr Gibbs, he looks better than Kamara looked coming out of college, more prepared to become Kamara. Schmitty, did you just say Gibbs was more prepared to become Kamara than Alvin Kamara was prepared to become Kamara? If you didn't know about Jahmyr Gibbs and the science behind it all, now you know, and now you can get behind it. We've got a couple other pieces of news. First of all, hit that thumb up button. 324 in the building. This show's growing and growing and growing, and it's because of every single one of you moon men out there, you astronauts, you space monsters coming in here and spreading the word, hitting the thumb up button, and we're taking this thing to the moon. Nothing's stopping us now. Nothing's stopping us. Wrong mic. I thought I had the other mic mic'd up. Nothing's stopping us. We're going forward. J.K. Dobbins, John Harbaugh said J.K. is 100% healthy. You let me be the judge of that, John. You let me be the judge of that. Okay, this is a guy that's been sitting like, yeah, maybe he's working out, but this is essentially to the likings of a holdout. Very, very similar to a holdout in terms of like being absent. And this new offense being installed by Todd Monken is not being absorbed by this man. He's not involved. He hasn't been involved. And so there's concern about showing up in mid-August and trying to absorb it all, get your body back in shape. Now, it's better than September 1. Okay, so the odds of injury are far less than if he showed up in September than showing up in mid-August. But the odds of injury, because you haven't done what you're supposed to be doing, is a lot higher in mid-August than it is August 1. It's a progressive ratio of risk. And you could say, oh, that's not a big deal. He'll be fine. But J.K. Dobbins requesting and demanding a new contract when he hasn't proven anything yet. I mean, he's on his way to maybe proving it, and that's good. Congratulations, J.K. You know, we're proud of you, young man, for potentially putting yourself in a position where you're about to get a big payday if you bring the Thunder in 2023. But all of a sudden, you must have had a weird agent get in your ear. I think you might need to look for new representation, because your agent whispered in your ear, bro, those 2 games where you looked pretty much back to form, I think you have you think that warrants a holdout. I think you got something here, bro. Stand up and walk away. Those 2 games will get you paid, pal. I think his agent misguided him. Or he just thinks, oh, I'm the best thing ever. I can go out and get a big fat contract right now. And the Baltimore Ravens said, huh? Huh? We're not paying you. Running backs don't get paid right now, JK. Okay? Here, we'll give you a contract, JK. Just kidding. Get on the field, JK, because you're playing football under your current deal. And that's all there is to say about it, JK. I don't know what made him think this was going to work. I don't know what made him think this was smart. I don't know what made him think this would gain him any momentum whatsoever. It only set him back. It only set him back, and there's a higher injury risk attached to him. Again, not as high as it would have been if he came back in September. Okay, but it's definitely higher than if he had shown up in July or June. So he's been holding in, he's been injured, and now he's 100%. I don't know what to believe, to be honest with you. And as much as I am excited about Najee Harris this year to his ADP, third, fourth round ADP, I'm kind of getting behind that on Najee, right? So I don't mean this on a knock on Najee's 2023 value. But I mean this more of a knock on how the news is given to us in today's sports world, in today's fantasy football world, in today's journalism world. Your boy's a journalist. I'm a journalist, whether you like it or not out there, Harry the hater. I'm a journalist. Okay, I went to school for it too. And I feel like there's a standard, and I'm an opinion journalist, mind you. There's a standard of providing information to the watching world, the sports betting world, the fantasy football world, the viewership, the fan base, and nobody's telling us anything anymore. Like this Najee Harris having a Liz Frank injury after it already happened was garbage and hogwash, and it makes me never trust information coming out of Pittsburgh again, because I don't know what the hell's going on. How could we not know that? How could we not be told that he has a Liz Frank injury? Oh, yeah, that's almost out of the way, and he's healed from it. That was garbage. That was garbage. And I feel like we don't know what's really going on with his injury. We don't know what's really going on with JT, which is this other piece of news. Oh, that's not it. Where's my JT news? JT is back, or going to be back very soon, but because he's injured, he's still not going to be ready to rumble or anything. This is a report where JK's coming back and he's said to be healthy, but JT's coming back and he's coming back to rehab his injuries. His injury, which I believe is dose injuries. Colts, JT returning to training camp, but remains on the active PUP, rehabbing his foot, which has bothered him, or his ankle, that's bothered him since last year. Since mid last year, he's still struggling with it. This is the biggest avoid in round 2, if he's still even there anywhere in fantasy. These two guys are two of the biggest avoids. I'm not necessarily lumping Rhamondre into this, but this is kind of almost an avoid running back show. I hate to say that on a day after we hit 20K on YouTube, a day after we hit 20K on YouTube, we have to come in and do a negative Nancy show, a little negative Noah show on running backs, on 3 running backs. Less worried about this man right here, going as far away from this situation in JT and the Colts as I can. I'm hopeful that Richardson still can do some good things from a fantasy perspective. And I get the allure of Pittman if you can get him late and not do what you did last year when I said don't do it. I said stay away from this man that people are drafting in the 3rd round. It made me want to throw up in my mouth when I see people drafting Deontay Johnson and Michael Pittman Jr. in the 3rd round. Occasionally the late second, an unaware Unger or an anxious Angus would take him in like the late second, like the 2-3 turn, and I'd vomit in my mouth immediately. And I'm not saying Pittman's not good. I'm not saying Pittman can't be a good, wide receiver 3. Okay, like I could get behind that. Or Deontay Johnson, you want to put him as a wide receiver 3, so be it. I won't anoint you a fantasy football night, but I will at least not send you on a lap. But JT in round 2, you're running laps for days. You draft JT anywhere, even at the bottom of round 2, you are disapproved from this show.
You've just been Smitty disapproved.
And might I say, not tonight, but tomorrow night, we're drafting on Underdog Fantasy, promo code Smitty. That link is in the description of every single video we have, pal. So you click that, and I'll drop it in the live chat right now. Let's drop that link in the live chat right now so everybody can get ready and get ready to draft. And where are we going to take Rhamondre Stevenson? Where's he going to fall? Underdog Fantasy, promo code Smitty has just been dropped in the chat. So hit that link right now. Do it live. Hit it live. Look at this man, Jahmyr Gibbs. He's still up from yesterday's conversation. And I'm not taking him down. He's staying right where he is. Yeah, during a Rhamondre Stevenson and Ezekiel Elliott live stream, during a JT live stream, we're looking at greatness right here. This is the man I draft. This is the man I take into battle. This is the man that I draft over JT, over Rhamondre. I'm sorry, Rhamondre. I'm not putting you in the bus category, but I'm drafting this man right here over you. I'm certainly taking him over JT and of course JK, who's like a 6-rounder, right? So that's not even in this conversation, but Gibbs is the man. Gibbs is quite arguably going to be a top 5 to 10 running back. And I explain the science. I can explain it one more time for the 100 people that weren't in here. There is backed science and education and really architecture and digital footprint analysis and flux capacitors involved that explain why Jahmyr Gibbs is a top 5 to 10 running back. I'm not making this up. I'll show you the science. But the continuum of the gigawatt component structure of Jahmyr Gibbs's workload divide has a megawatt offload that if you compartmentalize the component conjunction timekeeper and you flux capacitor out the continuum component megabolt, things just end up happening. And that's why Jahmyr Gibbs is a top 5 to 10 running back instead of top 6 to 10. It's really that simple. It really is. And even when I see comments like this, and Prime, I'm not trying to pick on you. I love you, pal. I want you to know that you have a place here no matter what, even if you have a differing opinion. But this is irrelevant, Prime. Montgomery believer here, I guess I'm in the minority. Did I once tell you Monty wasn't going to have a decent year? Did I once say at all, Prime, that Monty couldn't have 1,200 yards and 8 touchdowns on the ground? Prime, listen to the words coming out of my mouth, okay? This man, Jahmyr Gibbs, let's go back to it. This man, Jahmyr Gibbs, and Monty have nothing to do with each other. It's like walking up to a square and being worried about the rectangle. It's like walking up to a quarterback in Joe Burrow and saying, I worry about the defense scoring more touchdowns than Joe Burrow. This is a completely irrelevant conversation because Monty plays a different role than Gibbs. They don't really even have anything to do with each other in one sense because they're going to run the ball. Let's call it 450 times. This man's not even running 180 to 200 times. He doesn't even need half of the rushing attempt volume in Detroit. This is your inverse of Deebo Samuel. This is a wide receiver / running back. No, check that. This is a weapon. His position is W, weapon. Okay? Monty's an RB. This guy's a W. This guy's a W for weapon, a W for win, a W for winner, a W for anything else we can think of. Wonderment, everything. This man is glory is what he is. And he has really no worries or concerns, as do you if you're a Gibbs owner, in terms of workload divide, because not only of the science that I just showed you that's backed by pure genius and mechanism and flux capacitor calculations and angles and tons of different data. Jahmyr Gibbs Jahmyr Gibbs is catching 65, 75 plus receptions. Jahmyr Gibbs is probably at best running for 800 yards on the ground, 900 yards. I don't think he's even going to be, he could be like 1,000 even yard rusher by breaking off long runs. I'm not saying he can't, but he's projected to be workload divide, projected to probably be about an 800, 900 yard runner. Now, Detroit has room for Monty and some, bro. We need Monty. When I say they don't relate, that's not entirely true. They relate because you need Monty to keep Gibbs, like, defenses completely incapable of focusing on him. You want Monty in the backfield and Gibbs out wide. You want them on the field at the same time. And when there's reports, and go watch my Gibbs video that I have up recently, the number 2, of 5 videos, 5-part series, where I talk about there were 3 plays in a row where this beat writer was watching, and he said the first play, Gibbs is lined up in the backfield, was handed the football, he takes it up the gut. The next play, he lines up in the slot, turns around, catches the football, takes it upfield. The third play, these are all in a row, back to back to back. The third play, he's lined up in the slot, goes in motion, goes back and returns to the backfield, becomes a running back, and they hand the football off to him again. 3 straight plays in a row from different positioning on the field at the onset of the play. This means he's being moved all over the place, Prime. He's being moved all over the place. This guy's going to be an absolute monster, and I'm here for it. And Prime, I want you to be here for it. Stop talking about Monty. He has nothing to do with it, Prime. It's like talking about night when you're talking about day. It's like talking about day when you're talking about night. It's like talking about, I don't know, anything unrelated. Just throw it out there. Anything that makes sense for you. Prime, appreciate you. I don't want Prime to get mad at me. Prime, hey, this is the video series. There's a Bijan, top 5 running backs, bold style. There's always an unaware Unger in there, or a Caleb, or a worried William, or a petrified Peter that didn't watch the video, that comments and goes, I don't know about Bijan, Gibbs, Hall, Pollard, and Walker all being your top 5. You're an idiot. You're an idiot. Watch the video. It's bold style, baby. And 2 or 3 of these guys might finish in the top 5, and then the other 2 could be 7 and 8, or 6 and 8, or maybe 6 and 25. Maybe one of them gets injured. But these are my top 5 non-traditional running backs in 2023. Part 1 is up. Part 2 is up. And video part 3, I believe it'll be Pollard. That will be up. Then Hall, then Walker. Look for those. So the Pollard video is inbound soon and shortly. Now, we've got another thing to talk about. Thank you, Prime, for your message. And we got to go to the super chats real quick. I'm so sorry to my super chatters. I've been ranting really hardcore. Bryson, are you still here? Bryson dropping a 20 watt on screen. Right. Oh, I can't believe I didn't see that yet. Bryson.
Alert. Super chat alert.
Bryson, you monster, you. Bryson says 10-man. I don't care it's a 10-man league. You're still a monster. 10-man redraft, 2 flex, 1 QB. T-Law, Russell Wilson. Okay. T-Law, amazing. Walker, Sharps, Stevenson, JK. 2 of those guys we just talked about. But I'm still not calling Stevenson a bust. I'm just saying try and get Ezekiel Elliott. He might be on waivers. And I haven't got to the rest of your question yet. Maybe that talks about it. Stevenson, J.K. Walker. It's still a very good running back stable. Breece Hall, Najee Harris. What are we doing here? What are we doing? How many are the other 3? Are the other 3 grandmas upset in your 4-man league that you have this team, Bryson? Garrett Wilson, Olave, Drake London, Pittman, Tony, Dodson. Look at your garbage wide receiver, Dotson, just sitting there on the bench. Can't even get in the lineup. He can't even get playing time. He's a wide receiver 1. Hawkinson. I think it's great. I think the other 3 people in your league are probably pretty pissed off right now, is what I think, Bryson. Congratulations. Your team is
to the moon.
Moon bound. Okay. So that got that pat on the back out of the way. Phenomenal. And thanks again for the $20 hauler. Even with the whole Zeke Elliott thing. Yes, Bryson. Even with the whole Zeke Elliott thing, you will survive. You will survive. But, Bryson, why don't we use the J.K. Dobbins and Stevenson situation and maybe upgrade potentially the London or Pittman or Dodson off the touchdown, because I do think he's going to be amazing, or potentially the Stevenson or the quarterback situation. Let's upgrade something. Let's upgrade T-Law into Hurts. Let's upgrade T-Law into Fields. And you don't have to do that. I'd almost rather keep T-Law and bank on him having a top 4 or 5 quarterback season and try and upgrade Stevenson using JK. Stevenson, JK, and I don't know, Pittman? You know, go get a Gibbs, go get a Bijan. You get Gibby right now using Stevenson and throw JK in to say, JK Dobbins, he's healthy. Use the news to your advantage. Bryson, you get Steve. I give up Stevenson and JK for Gibbs. You're in a world where you can overpay. You can overpay to get this done. And I don't care what Rhamondre fan out there is going to come in and say, Smitty's crazy when he says trade Rhamondre straight up for Gibbs, let alone give JK. I'd do it. Ask for more. I mean, always try and get more. Bijan, try and get Bijan. Try and get, I don't know. Try and get an upgrade from London using JK into St. Brown. Like, those are the directions that I would go, and I'd do it live. Do it live. Alex with a $5 hauler says, 12-man, 1 QB. My team is T-Law, Bijan, Gibbs, Breece Hall. That's a phenomenal team. Any trade ideas for wide receiver? T-Law, same situation. Bijan, Gibbs, Breece. I leave that alone. Javonte, I probably want to keep that, but you could trade Javonte. A-Chain, Garrett Wilson, Hopkins. I don't think you need to do anything. You got great wide receivers. What you'll want to wait on is Javonte to gain enough value for maybe you to trade him for a struggling player that you love. Like, example, St. Brown goes out in week 1, which he won't. Which he won't. He's going to go nuts. He's going to go bonkers in week 1. But let's say we live in a world where St. Brown goes out and has a struggle bus week 1 and week 2. Maybe not struggle bus, but maybe he gets 80 yards, no touchdowns, 70 yards, no touchdowns. Now he's kind of touchable in terms of a trade. So maybe Javonte goes out and has 110 and a touchdown. You'll be surprised at what 1 or 2 weeks can do. Your team is not built to trade now. Your team is a wait and see, make a trade after week 1. And when we do our buy low, sell high show, that's where we're going to flip things for you, Alex. I'm waiting if I'm you. There's no reason to make a trade before values have increased or decreased or anything like that. 20K says Terry Roberts, appreciate your super chat. Garrett dropping. Thank you, Terry. Appreciate you modding all these years, too. Congrats on the 20K. Thank you, Garrett. Appreciate your $2 hauler, Garrett. Carter Rowe says, rate my team in an 8-man half PPR league. He says PPR, 3 wide receivers, QB Joe Burrow, wide receiver Chase, Wilson, Ridley, Barkley, Walker. I think this is 8-man. I mean, this is what you traditionally expect to get in an 8-man, and you crushed it. So I don't think you did anything wrong. I'm not trying to downplay it, but it is an 8-man league. This is what you call not botching it. You did great. You got Burrow, you got Chase, you got Wilson, you got Ridley. You couldn't have done any better. Like, every time you're on the clock, you made the right pick, and then the values eventually, even in an 8-man league, run out. So you did a flawless execution of taking the best advantage of an 8-man as you can. The problem with an 8-man is everybody's team is absolutely phenomenal. So I can't sit here and anoint you the winner, because in an 8-man league, there probably are 4 teams that look exactly as powerful as yours. But your team's phenomenal, and you're definitely in the top 5.
Angus Asu purchased $1.99 from Angus A. Smitty, it's Angus.
Thank you, Angus, for your usual shout out to yourself. Appreciate you, Angus, being here. Neighbors coming in strong. Neighbors, I haven't seen a super chat from you in a while, and I haven't seen your face in a while. So this is a very nice surprise. $10 hauler gets a moonshot.
To the moon.
I got to say, it's nice to see your face, bro. 10-man league, PPR, I was picked 7. Got Herbert, Pollard, Breece, Kupp, Olave, Pitts, flexes, Mike Evans, Rashad White. It's good. If I had to make any moves, it would probably be trying to... God, I'm worried about Kupp, and I don't know that you can trade him right now. Maybe I bank on another... I don't know if, like, a Conquo's out there. Kincaid is out there. You have Kincaid. I don't know if a Conquo is out there to pair with him, Cole Kmet to pair with him, and maybe bank on that lower-ranked tight end and try and trade Kyle Pitts, to upgrade potentially... I mean, I'd honestly upgrade. I know you guys love Herbert, but I would trade Herbert into a Hurts or a Mahomes, or I would trade potentially using Kyle Pitts. I would try and upgrade my Mike Evans into a St. Brown, or a Gibbs if you want to go cross position. Those are the only things that come to mind. You have a very, very good team. That's how I would probably start things off at least. Marco with the $10 holler.
To the moon.
$10 holler gets a moonshot. Parker Mayo. Did I say What did I say, Parker? Parker says, I have my draft in 2 hours. I have the third pick, 12 PPR, in a 12-team PPR. Plan on taking Chase at number 3. Who do you think are the good players at the turn? I believe Pollard, Wilson, St. Brown will all be gone. Yeah, I mean, that would be the grouping that you want, right? And if you take Chase, I think Pollard could float above those other guys in that scenario. Although you're drafting Pollard and Garrett Wilson you're drafting Garrett Wilson and St. Brown ahead of Pollard. So you could argue that the best player available is still the receiver if they're there. But if these guys are gone, I would say, it's gonna be tough, bro. I mean, Chubb's there sometimes, and that's not bad. I don't like absolutely love it, but it's good. It's really good. It's really good value. Some say Chubb is a first rounder, so I don't think it's bad at all. Barkley won't be there most likely. You could always go quarterback. You could go Mahomes or Hurts if you just don't like the fall. My advice to going early quarterback is to do it and execute it on Hurts or Mahomes when you're literally staring at the player pool and you go, I don't like it. I'm forcing myself to take a player that I don't even like, then just take the player that can outscore everybody in the National Football League. So that's where I would go. But I do love Fields. I do love T-Law. I do love Burrow. And I don't mind the Burrow stack, even though it doesn't help you in redraft necessarily. But we love the Burrow stack.
The stack above all stacks. It's time to drop the pancake emojis in the live chat.
Drop the pancake emoji. So would I prefer you wait on a quarterback and get Burrow at a steal? Sure. Is Gibbs too early for you? Probably. What about Breece Hall, then Gibbs? Chase, Breece Hall, Gibbs, or Chase. Yeah, bro. I mean, Olave, but Olave's been dropping. He's been a third rounder the last couple of weeks because people are worried about Mike Thomas catching a pass. So, I don't know, bro. I just have to know who's on the board. I kind of believe you're going to get one of those guys, though. I really do think you're going to see one of those guys. But if not, I think quarterback's not crazy. And I think, Gibbs is a little early. But you just have to look at the rank. If he's down there to where he's easily going to last year third drafted player, don't push Gibbs there. Let's not push Gibbs into round 2 until we have to. 86 a pick, $9.99 holler.
To the moon.
No question attached. I imagine you asked something. I'll go search for it in a little bit. Thank you for dropping that in the final super chat before I play our new scene, our new animation, our new Garrett Wilson and St. Brown animation, I might add. A 10-man league by this guy, Nick, who gets this moonshot monster. You moonshot man, you. He says 1 QB, PPR, 10-man, QB, T-Law, Bryce Young, Lance, get rid of Lance. Breece, Hall, Barkley, Sanders, Zeke, Charbonnet, Roshan, Tank, Jamar Chase, St. Brown, Olave. It's a great squad, though. I like it a lot. The only thing I'm looking to do, my guy, is potentially maybe move Sanders on the high, because I don't know. I'm not saying he can't maintain his value, my broski, but I just don't know how I feel about Sanders on the long term, and he's got high value. So, I love your receivers. Don't touch the 3 receivers. But maybe you trade Njoku and Miles Sanders for, an Andrews. Or maybe you trade Miles Sanders and T-Law for a Hurts or a Mahomes or a quarterback bump. Maybe you take Barkley and turn him into Bijan using Miles Sanders. Maybe you could turn Miles Sanders into Gibbs by throwing in a mere Quentin Johnson or some sort of other player. I don't know. Go to the Rhamondre Stevenson owner. Would be one of my first things, and see what he has that could be a little baby bump for you, and do some sort of Zeke. Hey, I'll send you Zeke Elliott and Miles Sanders and maybe he's got Gibbs and he's desperate, because some people will literally go to the ends of the earth to cuff their players. Those are things I would look at. But I think Miles Sanders could upgrade your quarterback play. Even though I love T-Law, I love him. But when I look at a team like this, where can you overload somewhere? If you had Mahomes St. Brown, Jamar Chase, Olave, Breece Hall, Barkley, it's like game over. I'm not saying that T-Law isn't amazing, but there's opportunity to upgrade that. There still is. There always will be until you get to the top of the top.
To the moon.
Another $10 hauler from Bailey. Bailey dropping the wad on screen. I don't know what we're doing there in that photo, but I'm in a 10-man PPR redraft league on the 2-3 turn. Would you take one of Hurts, Allen, and Mahomes with Mark Andrews or take Gibbs with Andrews? I don't like taking an early Andrews with an early quarterback. I think that could put you in a pickle. I think when you look at things after, you're like, boy, now I'm chasing running back, now I'm chasing wide receiver with that double quarterback and early tight end, situation you're putting at your doorstep. I would take Gibbs. I would take Fields or Burrow later, and then you have the same thing, but even better. I don't know that I would take Andrews. It depends who else is on the board at the 2-3 turn. I don't traditionally take Mark Andrews at the 2-3 turn personally, but that, do what works for you. And if you build well that way, then you want to do what works for you. So make sure you don't listen to anybody else. Just use my advice as a push over the fence. Now, I've got news for you, ladies and gentlemen. Thank you all for the super chats. Keep them coming in. I'll answer them as soon as they come in. I got news for you. There's a new little thing we call Upper Decker. Upper Decker. And the Upper Decker here on the Fantasy Football Show is when you grab St. Brown and Garrett Wilson. There are other wide receivers that you could throw into this mix, but really, we're only going to potentially tag it to these two players. This is called the Upper Decker, and it's the new little scene and animation that we have for St. Brown and Mr. Garrett Wilson. Enjoy.
The double-decker, pronounced double-decker in academic circles, is drafting both Rhamondre St. Brown and Garrett Wilson back-to-back in round.
Hold on, I gotta get a blank scene here. I apologize. I got so many overlays over it. You can't even see. How are you supposed to see? How are you supposed to see? Hold on a second. Okay, here we go. I apologize. And it's not called the Upper Decker. It's the Double Decker. I get it right, Smitty. Double Decker. Here goes. Double Decker, go. Drop a double.
The double-decker, pronounced double-decker in academic circles, is drafting both Rhamondre St. Brown and Garrett Wilson back-to-back in rounds 1 and 2. The double-decker.
Go get double-deckered. 420 people in here, 157 likes. Smash that button. Let's hit that one more time.
The double-decker, pronounced double-decker in academic circles, is drafting both Rhamondre St. Brown and Garrett Wilson back-to-back in rounds 1 and 2. The double-decker.
Go get double-deckered and do it live. Terry Roberts dropping a super chat, says have one of my redrafts in 10 team tonight. Terry, go smash it. Be patient, but use that ADP, that suggested rank, to really smash. So the double decker is that. The upper decker, we got the upper decker coming too. The upper decker is when you take St. Brown and Garrett Wilson with your first two picks, and then you come back with Gibbs, Walker, and Fields. That's called the upper decker. That's the upper decker. That's where you have the 5 players that absolutely smash. The double decker, the upper decker. Go get upper deckered. Okay? You hear me? You heard? Let's open the phone lines real quick, and then we'll be back later. Don't you worry. We're live Monday through Friday, every single Monday through Friday at 8 p.m. and we're live whenever news breaks. So don't worry about that. We'll be back. But let's open up these phone lines and see what some of you were thinking about Rhamondre, and do it live.
Call into the show. Call into the show.
And the phone line here in August is presented by Double D. DW, who's dropped a $70 super chat, and he's also gifted 250 memberships in August, so he is the sponsor of the phone line for the month so far until somebody knocks him off. Someone drops an $80 or $100 super chat right now. They've replaced DW on that left side of the screen, and I don't think anybody's going to beat DW and TMT with their 250 gifted memberships, but, by all means try. And this video, part 3 is coming soon, so hit me on the phone line. Catch me outside. Let's talk about the Ezekiel Elliott, Rhamondre Stevenson situation. Also, JT in the news, like I mentioned, JT returning to training camp, but will be basically rehabbing as he's on the active PUP, and he's still hampered. And I think he's got 2 injuries. JT's like the biggest avoid. Dial into this show real quick, and let's take a couple phone calls. Sun God doing it live for this spot. I mean, why not? Do what you want. Don't let anybody tell you can't draft St. Brown at like 7 overall. 5's a little early. I think I take Bijan, bro. Bijan will be there. But, I mean, bro, it is what it is. Scared Scott, Fitzy are dialing in. What's up, Scared Scott and Fitzy? Let me go to Scared Scott first. What are you scared about today, Scared Scott?
Well, sorry, I haven't called for a couple of weeks. I had a life event that kicked me in the nuts.
Oh, you hope.
And I just haven't felt like talking about it.
Hope everything's okay. Hope everything's okay. You okay?
I don't know. Yeah.
I got a psych degree. Don't worry. It's only me and you on the phone line. Don't worry about it. You can confide in me.
Exactly.
There's only 432 people hearing you right now, but okay, go ahead. What's scaring you right now? What's scaring you right now?
What's scary is that in one of my redrafts, some idiot for some reason dropped Josh Jacobs last week, and so he got 500 fab in it. And right now, it goes through on Wednesday, so I put in for 351.
Let me ask you a question, Scared Scott. Let me ask you a question, Scared Scott. Can you pick up players for free if you run out of fab?
Yes.
Okay, so why are you scared to throw down your entire fab and do a full, what we call a full load drop here on the channel? Full load drop is required here.
Initiate full load drop.
Full load drop?
Of course.
For Jacobs?
Scared Scott, if you took Jacobs into any, and this is coming from somebody that's petrified of Jacobs because of his situation and everything, but if you drop a player that some people, even if it's for trade purposes, some people deem as a, second to third rounder if he's out there, and you don't pick him up on the even chance you can trade him. What better free agent will you ever see? If you can pick up people for free after you run out of money, you need to initiate full load droppage.
Initiate full load drop.
Okay.
That's
what I'll do then.
Don't you agree that someone else is going to probably do that? Or
I don't know. I was thinking 351 was massive. I'm not even sure I've seen that any of these leagues, but
okay. So let me say this. Let me back up a little bit because I don't know who you're playing with. You could be playing with the eight grandmas or 7 other grandmas, and they may not even know how to work their flip phones. They might not even be able to log in to make a bid. But what I would say is that if you've never seen somebody go to the max like on somebody, maybe you don't. You're taking a risk, but like if it was me and I could pick up Jacobs and trade him or just use him, like even me, even Mr. Skeptical of Josh Jacobs this year would be like, this is the best pickup I could ever come across. So I'm gonna drop the full load drop on him. I don't understand how you wouldn't. Let me see if anybody in here is saying that they wouldn't. And let me put this caller on hold here. 405 caller, who is this and where are you calling from?
This is Nick calling from Alabama.
Okay, Nick, I'm going to put you on hold here. The phone lines are pretty full right now, so just hang tight, Nick. I'm not ignoring you, but it's going to be a minute. Just hang tight. I'll try and cycle through. Does anybody in the live chat think that they wouldn't do a full load droppage on Josh Jacobs in this situation? It's crazy to me to not do it. It's crazy.
I can't watch and talk to you, so let me know what they're saying.
Okay, yeah, I'll let you know. Drop, load, dark matter in space. Garrett Wilson to Mars. That's not helpful, Hunter. The person who dropped Jacobs must be an idiot, says Goose. Those leagues are dumb. Yeah. AF. I would drop everything, says Turner. Let's go over to Fitzy real quick.
$1,200, and I can't believe they did that.
I know. So if you can't do it, I would drop 100%, but that's me. You got to drop that load, says the Ryan. He says drop it.
Initiate full load drop.
You got to. In my opinion, you got to.
Thank you, bro.
All right, hey, Scared Scott. First of all, are you okay? Are you okay, bro? You know, as much as I give you a hard time, you're an important person to me and the show. Are you okay?
No, this is pretty fucked up.
Okay.
The girl I've been going through a divorce for a long time.
Sorry, man.
Met somebody during that. And we've been together a year and a half, and she decided to tell me after I moved to Florida that she's a fucking swinger.
Oh, let's not go there. Let's not go here on the channel. It's a family show, but that would rock someone's world in the wrong way. I think most people. Scott, I'm sorry. I have a psych degree. I don't know that I've been fully trained for this part, but I am here for you. I don't know I'm fully trained for this particular segment. I haven't used my psych degree in a while. Maybe my journalism. No, that won't help either. Scott, I'm sorry. And you got a family. You got a family here. And as much as I yell at you and as hard as I am on you, I want you to know you always have a home here. You always have a place here. And we're not going to stab you in the back. Okay? You hear me?
Yeah, I can. Take care, Smitty. I'm going to jump off.
Hey, you hear me, though? We're going to be here for you, okay?
We're here, I hear you. Thanks.
Okay, thanks, Scott. Appreciate you. Man, that's rough. All right, nobody poke fun at Scott right now because Scott is going through something serious, and I think Scott needs our support, not any laughter. But man, that's a tough. Hang in there, guys. Can you please shower Scott with encouragement in the chat? Can everybody drop like a prayer emoji for Scott? Because that's brutal. That's brutal, especially if he moved for that individual. Fitzy, you're live.
Hey, Schmitty. So I was going to ask you about my 10-man league. I have the second pick, and somebody wants to trade for the second pick a fourth round, or a second round and a fourth round pick.
A second round and a fourth round? Bro, we talk about this all the time. So you have the number what?
But the thing is, I have the number 2 pick, but they want my 8th round pick too.
You know what I would do is I would probably play hardball with them and say, this is what I always do. This is the psychological tactic that I would use. Now, first of all, let's talk about whether it's worth it doing the 2-for-1. So we talk about this all the time on the show that I would even trade JJ away. Who's that first rounder?
Well, I was going to take Jamar at 2 anyway, okay. But if JJ was there.
I just use JJ because most people say that. I agree with
you.
So in a second round pick and a fourth round pick, and this is like a word.
But what complicates it is he has the 3rd pick, so I get a late second round and a late 4th round, and he would get 2 back-to-back picks in 2 and 3. So he could get Jamar and Jefferson if the guy takes CMC, for example.
Is it very feasible to get, let's say, Gibson Fields?
I think maybe with his late 4th rounder, because it would be the 8th pick in the 4th round, I could probably get Gibbs there. If not Gibbs, Walker.
No, I'm saying even.
And then I was gonna take Fields at the turn and get him at 5.
Yeah, but I'm saying, like, in the worst case scenario with the late second round pick, you could even have Gibbs in the late fourth, you get Fields. I'm just saying that at the end of the day, am I taking this combo for just JJ? Yes. You throw the 8th rounder in, guess what you're doing, bro? You're injecting a potential George Pickens. And then you ask me the question, should I trade JJ and Pickens for Gibbs and Fields? Then it becomes a whole different conversation. So if you do this straight up, I don't mind it. I'm not saying you have to take Gibbs there. I'm just merely like telling you in a worst case scenario, like if this was even a 3rd rounder, it was Gibbs and Fields guaranteed, I would take that over JJ or Chase or whatever. So I like the idea and the concept, but you can't do it by throwing in the 8th round
pick. That 8th round pick is like the difference maker.
So here's the psychology angle. You decline it. Is it up there right now? Did he offer it and it's sitting there?
Yeah.
You decline it and you counter offer with the 2-for-1 and you say, I'm leaving this up for like 5 minutes. I think I'm an idiot for doing this, and you got 5 minutes and I'm done with this conversation because Chase is or whoever you think he wants. You could say he's my guy. I'm done. Just make it look like you're in a panic. I'm taking this down in 5 minutes because I shouldn't even be offering this. Just make him feel like pressured to do it, and then he can do it. I don't necessarily think you have to do it either, though. Tyler, call back in and I'll get you on real quick.
I do like the idea. Like maybe I could get Wilson with that late second round pick he has, and then get like Tony Pollard and then Gibbs.
Yeah, and I'm not saying
you could walk out of there with Wilson,
right,
Pollard and Gibbs. That's pretty good, and then you get Fields at the turn.
Right. Okay. All right.
Next round.
Ty Lee says you can all see my comments or am I banned? Why would we ban you? You're a national treasure. You have this tape on Joe Burrow that you say his film, not like off the field tape. This film that your high school coach has analyzed and said that if this film got out, Joe Burrow would be done. We're still waiting for it, Ty Lee. You seem to think Joe Burrow is on the verge of being figured out based on your high school football coach. We can't wait for it. Russian collusion, says Smitty Springer Show. That's crazy news. Everybody keep dropping the prayer emojis for Scott and what he's going through. That is a rough situation for him to be going through. Terry, thank you for dropping your super chat. Just Sherman dropped a super chat here. Tyler, hang tight. I'm going to put you on hold here. Russian collusion, thank you for your super chat. And Davis dropping a super chat real quick. Hey, Smitty, I'm in a 10-team PPR league. I was pick 4, got Fields, Javonte, Breece Hall, JJ, Amon-Ra, Wilson, Kittle. Man, that's crazy in a 10-team. That's still very, very good. What do you think? Any moves? Moves for me, you're not moving Fields. You're not moving Breece or Javonte. You're not moving JJ or Amon-Ra or Garrett Wilson. Kittle's fun to trade and then go after another tight end that you like a little bit, more on the low key, and then you can maybe make some moves. But I don't know. I guess you could try and get I would try and get a Gibbs using JK and Kittle. I'd literally give JK Pittman and Kittle for just Gibbs, and then pick up Okonkwo's and Kincaids and players like that if you can still grab them. But that's the only move that I would see, because you grabbed a lot of guys I like. So in your situation, you're also kind of a wait and see. I don't know that I do much before week 1 unless you can just upgrade one of those guys. But I don't really want you trading most of those guys. Thank you, Collusion, for your super chat. Just Sherman dropping his, says O'Connell grabbed him in my Dynasty League, as you should. He looks really good. And Davis for the $10 hauler.
To the moon.
Moonshot, appreciate you dropping that. Yeah, again, looking at your team, I think I like it so much. Kittle is the only player. Kittle and JK are the only players I want to that I would potentially want to trade just on the high, and try and get another player that I can rotate through. Like Gibbs would be amazing and a perfect fit. Kenneth Walker, I would trade JK and Kittle for Kenneth Walker. See if we can get a tight end thrown back. But see if Kincaid and Okonkwo are out there. Cole Kmet's another player you could throw in there. Those are great ideas, I think, for that specific team. Turner dropping a $5 hauler. Says, start 2. I have Josh Allen, and do I trade Fields for Watson and Mark Andrews? 2 QB. No, I don't. I think Watson's a second-round quarterback in 2 QB for me. Andrews is a 3rd to 4th round pick in a 2 QB league, and Fields is a top 1 to 5 overall pick. So I'm going to say Smitty disapprove that. Not everybody would agree because some people love Deshaun Watson that much, but I think Fields is that big of a difference maker. I'm going to say no on that. Let me hit the phone line real quickly and say, Nick, you have, I don't want to say you have 10 seconds, but I do need to jump here. So, Nick, can you ask me your question as quick as you can? I appreciate you, by the way.
Yeah. Hey, Smitty. So you looked at my chat earlier. The one with Saquon, Breece Hall, Miles Sanders, Charbonnet. I was wondering because Breece Hall is sort of iffy right now, and he's my go-to second running back slot right now. And then other than that, my other options, Miles Sanders, Rhamondre, Ezekiel Elliott. Like, I'm not feeling too good about any of them. Is there anything I should be doing to try to get somebody more solid, or am I in a good spot there?
I believe
I don't know if Breece Hall is going to be available for the first couple of weeks. It's sort of hard to tell right now.
I mean, I think he will be. I don't think there's anything unless there's a setback of some kind. I mean, he's running 23 miles per hour, man. You know, him and Javonte. Keep in mind, we still have a lot of time. We don't have a full month anymore, but like we literally still have like the makings, majority of like a month left in a sense. Like opening Sunday is what, the 12th or 11th, 12th. So we almost have a full month still to go. So if he's running 23 miles per hour weeks and weeks ago, I just think you're going to get great news very soon, and you're not going to be in trouble. I'm not making any weird moves unless you're getting Gibbs or Pollard.
And with Samaje Perine on my bench, I don't know. I don't even know at this point, is there any value in me even having him anymore?
I mean, he's got some value, but it depends on who you can pick up. I'd rather have Deuce Vaughn. I mean, he's exciting. He's exciting, man. He's a guy we've been talking about for a while, and everyone's like, he's too small. He's 5'5". Well, you know what? He's making waves. He's making waves. Money.
You'd rather have him on your bench than Perine?
Yeah, I would. I'd rather have Deuce Vaughn dropping deuces on my bench than Perine. Absolutely.
Sounds good.
But that's me. Some people might think I'm crazy, Nick. I get called crazy every day.
Well, crazy makes a change.
That's right. All right. Hey, Nick, appreciate you, pal.
Thank you.
All right, later. Real quickly, before I go to Marsman Rockout, who's been waiting, I didn't even realize he was there. I'm sorry, Marsman. Marsman Rockout, you get to jump ahead of everybody. The $10 hauler here from Money Mitch. Swap 7th draft slot for the 2nd to grab Bijan. Keeper league, JJ, Jamar Chase. Swap 7th to the I would take, if in a keeper format. I mean, you may not even have to move up, but I would do it to be safe because I want Bijan that bad in a keeper setting. And thank you for the $10 hauler, but absolutely. Russian Collusion dropping a 20-watt on screen. Russian, my man, the myth, the legend.
Alert. Super chat alert.
Collusion dropping a 20 spot says, Smitty, did we have positive news today for one of our moon men? Running back Zach Martin signed deal, go Pollard. Oh, yeah. Yeah, Pollard not having Zeke return is one positive thing. Pollard's an absolute monster. He's a moon man.
The moon man, dropping loads in outer space.
And there's just been nothing but amazing news for Pollard all offseason long.
Space Moon says
he's been working hard. There's all this footage. I have one of the videos on my Instagram where he's just hitting a machine where he's like it's like on his shoulders and he's just jumping and just putting all this force into his leg. His leg's 100%. Pollard could be a top 1 to 5 running back. I don't even want to say like leave the 1 out. Like if anybody thinks Pollard can't be a 1 to, who's eating Cheetos on the phone right now? What is that? Is that Avi? Who is that? You don't have to be ashamed of what you're doing. I just want to know who it is. Is that Nick?
That was me, Smitty. Susan from Boston.
What are you eating? Cheetos? Doritos?
A burrito.
A burrito, bro. You're digging into that. Is your beard dragging against the tinfoil?
Yeah, that's what it was. I was closing up the tinfoil because I just unwrapped the burrito.
It's like ASMR or whatever the hell that is. We'll have Nick eating a burrito in the corner of the show every time. That'll be. Some people are into that. All right. Hey, no problem, Nick. Just hang tight. Keep eating. Keep munching away. Let's see here. Russian collusion. Yes, Pollard to the moon. If anybody thinks Pollard can't be a top 1 to 5 quarterback, get ready. Get ready. Buckle up. He's got that much potential. He's the most efficient running back in the National Football League, believe it or not. People don't think he's going to hold up. He's bigger than Bijan. He's 6 foot, 209 pounds. He's bigger than Bijan. So let's stop talking about him not being capable of being an absolute, machine. Thank you, Collusion, for dropping that $20 holler on screen. You are the man. So glad to have a Collusion a part of this community. Ty Lee in the building, everybody. Ty Lee, if you got that film on Joe Burrow, please let us know. We want to prepare. We want a lead time on when Joe Burrow collapses because of this. Your high school coach figuring him out with the film you say he has. That he's waiting for the right time to release it, apparently. That's what Ty Lee says. So we just want a little lead time on Joe Burrow's demise. Who should I keep? Pierce for a 9th, St. Brown for a 5th, Fields for a 15th. I also have the 3rd pick in the draft. Fields for 15th for Fields. Easy call. Absolute smash. Fields is going to climb into next year. He's going to probably be a 2nd-round player. So that'll be great for you next year. $20 hauler right here from Atwell.
Alert. Super chat alert. Alert. Super chat alert.
Okay, let's see here. Isaac dropping a $1.99. Appreciate you, Isaac. I don't see a message attached to that, but I will try and search for that at the very end of the show to see if there's a question you had. Atwell said, Smitty, haven't heard you discuss Lamb much this year. Are you where are you on him? Also, do we like ETN or are you fading him a bit this year? Great question, Atwell. I love both of them. I don't know that I love Lamb when St. Brown, Amon-Ra, and Bijan are on the board, and I traditionally get one of those guys when Lamb is a choice, and that's why I don't draft him. I think shifting over to a more run-heavy attack concerns me a little bit, and not knowing how the passing game's going to look, and the fact that freaking Dak has looked pretty bad this offseason. But he's going against one of the best defenses in football week in and week out, so that's good. And I think that there's a chance that makes him better and everything, but I don't know. Part of me is just wondering if there's going to be a lot of missteps as they try and go this McCarthy way. McCarthy calling plays. McCarthy trying to change things that have worked. They've been a potent top 5 offense for years, and now they're going to shift a little bit. Concerns me enough to say, okay, there's concern with Pollard, but they are going to run more. So that's the only red flag for Pollard. I'm not worried about his health. I'm not worried about anything. I'm not worried about him not handling the workload. So, yeah, but as for ETN in the 3rd or 4th round, he's gold. In the 3rd round, he's medium risk, high reward, or even maybe even equal. The scale of risk and reward is not on one side or the other. It's dead even, which means he's a guy you don't draft in every league, but he's a guy you want at least in one league because his reward is massive. His risk is not the lowest because. Running back by committee threat, Tank Bigsby could vulture touchdowns. All we need is ETN to catch passes, and I do believe his 2nd year in the offense, because he didn't play at all his rookie year, so that was really his first year last year. He's kind of a rookie, and there's a new system for everybody. It was a reset year for everybody. I think he learned pass protection for the system. I think he's going to get thrown the football. We've heard him catching everything thrown to him in practice over the offseason. So every indication is they're throwing him the ball, and he's one of the most efficient running backs in the National Football League. He's kind of like Pollard in that way. So I love ETN at late 3rd. Love him in 4th, but I'd say I like him a lot at late 3rd. Love him in the 4th, and I absolutely am drafting, tons of shares of him. It just depends on where I can get him, where I can steal him away. All right, I got to cycle through the phone line because I do got to run, and I'll be back for the 8 p.m. show. Rock out. What's up, my guy?
What's up? I know you'd be taking Kelsey at 7. What's your strategy for your 2nd and 3rd round pick? Are you stacking him with Mahomes, or are you going to running back or receiver?
I don't mind going Mahomes, but I definitely feel like Kelsey going Kelsey in round 1 this year is amazing. I got a video on it. Why it's aside from Bijan, it's probably one of the best ways to draft this year, and I'm going to have a video on that. I kind of tend to think that if you can get away with still going the route of Fields and Joe Burrow or T. Law, you're in a better position, especially because you won't be chasing the other positions. If you go quarterback, then you're really kind of behind on wide receiver or running back. So I'm going to say don't do that because it's not best ball, right? So it doesn't matter unless it's best ball. If it's best ball, I do 50% of that approach I stack to Mahomes. The other 50%, I try and go later early quarterback is what we call it. So Burrow or Fields, later early quarterback, and that's better. All right, hey, rock out any final thoughts? I got to run. Anything else?
That's it. I'll catch you later.
Hey, call in tonight's show, and I'm sorry I made you wait. You're a Mars man, and you don't wait for anybody, so that's my fault on that one. Tonight, I'm going to throw you back right onto the phone line at 8 p.m., so I apologize, bro.
All right, see you then.
All right, later. For anybody who doesn't know, he's got a Mars man card. He goes right to the front of the line. Let's go to Tyler real quick. Tyler, you got like 10, 15 seconds. Go. You're live.
Okay. I just know, am I about this?
We can't hear you, Tyler. You're calling from a fax machine or something.
This is Josh Steven.
I heard Steven. I heard, are you joshing me about Stevens? That's what I heard.
He's a whole lot better.
I can't hear you.
He's gonna outplay him in a year.
Okay. Tyler, I gotta let you go because we can't hear you. We can't hear you, Tyler. Your phone's breaking up. I think you said that Stevenson is better than Zeke, and we agree with that. So I think that's what he's saying. Scuba Steve, you have literally 10 seconds. I gotta go. I'm sorry. Go. 10, 9.
Hey, Smitty, I just wanted to say that I think the Zeke signing is just more of a depth signing than like him threatening Stevenson's job just because Kevin Harris and Pierre Strong didn't look that good. But I'll call you up at 8, man.
All right, later. Caesar, what's up, Caesar? You got 10 seconds. I'm sorry.
Oh, first I want to say my bad to Nick. It wasn't Nick with the burrito. It was me.
Oh, poor Nick.
And I got a question on tight end. So I'm looking at my boy from New York right now, Waller.
Okay.
Or Hawkinson. Hawkinson is valued higher, but I feel like Waller is going to have the best year because he's going to be the sole target.
I agree with you.
Remember him with Derek Carr? He was a monster.
I agree with you. And you get him at better cost. So all day long, bro. All day long. Waller in the 6th, 7th round.
Round 5 or 6 in a 10-man.
6 would be definitely in a 10-man, 6 or 7. But just kind of feel out the suggested ADP. You know what I mean? Like if he's on the overall rank floating at the top, you know he's going to go soon. But I got to run.
He suggested in 5-6, but thank you.
Yeah, just play it by ear in your draft. You know what I mean? Because every ADP is going to be different in everything. So call tonight, Caesar. I'll wait for your call tonight, pal. I'll sit there and just wait for Caesar to call back in later. Nick, sorry about blaming you for the burrito. 10 seconds, go. Nick? Hello?
Hey, Smitty.
Okay, 10 seconds.
Not me, Nick. It must have been another Nick.
No.
So you mentioned the double decker, and then you got the upper decker, right? I'm not sure if you're familiar with the upper decker regarding, a toilet tank lid, whatever. I think I got a good name for it, whether it's the upper decker, aka the Royal Flush, because you mentioned 5 really S tier guys.
That is good. The upper decker. So it is called. So the upper decker, the double decker is this right here. For anybody that doesn't know what the double decker is, let me play that here real quickly. This is the double decker.
The double decker, pronounced double decker in academic circles, is drafting both Rhamondre St. Brown and Garrett Wilson back-to-back in rounds 1 and 2. The double decker.
The double decker. Why is my butt not working? The double decker is grabbing those two guys. The upper decker is when you get Walker. You also get Gibbs. You also get Fields. It's the 5. It's the best hand you can get, and I like it. It's be the upper decker, aka Royal Flush. I like it, bro. We're gonna mix it in. I like it. Good job. Good job, Nick. And Nick, if I forget to credit you whenever I say it, just remind the audience that was me. Okay.
Yeah, it's Nikki. It's from Nikki.
Nikki. All right, Nikki. Appreciate you, man. I got to go. Later.
All right, Smitty. Thanks, bro.
Avi, 10 seconds. Go. Hurry.
Yeah, we'll talk later. I think Zeke affects Stevenson a little bit. He'll come in on 4th and 1 and stuff, but Stevenson will still be all right. And Jahmyr Gibbs to the moon. Montgomery's only going to help him blast out big runs.
Yep,
all
that's
season.
right. All right, later, Avi.
Yep, later.
Mud Dogs, you got 10 seconds.
Hey, Smitty, I got a question. I think the guy before just answered it for me. I got the 111 in a 12-man PPR. I want to know if I go Garrett or Wilson, and then do I go Pollard on round 2 if he's there, or would you feel more comfortable stacking the receiver?
I'd probably go the double-decker personally, but I don't mind either one. Thank you, Smitty. I'll talk to you tonight on the 8 o'clock show. Thank you. Get that Gibbs and Walker. Let's bring it up again tonight. All right, later, Mud Dogs.
You got it.
All right, super chat here, $5 hauler, flex, super, let's see here, 12-man PPR, 1 flex, St. Brown, Garrett Wilson, Gibbs, Burrow, Christian Watson, and Javonte is a good squad right here. Improvements, getting rid of Godwin and selling high. I don't know if you can trade. I don't like trading Javonte because I want him to do well. You almost have to wait for him to blow up before you can do anything. This team has too many players I like, and the only part to improve would be the Javonte side, which Javonte and Godwin for Gibbs, Javonte and Godwin for Walker. Those are the moves we traditionally would recommend here in these circles here. But past that, you almost have to wait for Javonte to gain value and Godwin to, solidify some value. But appreciate that. Appreciate all of you. I've got to run for now. Go get Jahmyr Gibbs. Go get Bijan. Go get Joe Burrow. I'll see you all at 8 p.m. Eastern. I'm live Monday through Friday at 8 p.m. Eastern. I'm also live whenever news breaks. And then soon this graveyard shift is going to start 1 a.m. Right now we pretty much do it almost every other night right now. Tonight we won't be live, but Tuesday night we will. But soon it's going to go Thursday, basically when football starts Thursday and ends on Monday night. So Thursday night football to Monday night football. Those days I'm live graveyard shift. But that's coming up. This right here is every Monday through Friday, 8 p.m. live like this show whenever news breaks. See you all later. People are getting burrowed left and right, and people are going to remember it.
Get burrowed.
Monday through Friday, which means we will be live at 8 p.m. in just a little bit. See you then.